bosses. Hope you have a good day so far. Sorry we're running late. We're going to be up and running. We're going to get into our first gameplay of the EU Q4. So this is our last qualifiers. And this is going to be leading on to a big tournament that's going to be taking place on the 11th of November. So the $250 prize pool up for grabs for EU. And separately for NA, we will be casting the NA tournament tonight, which will be at midnight for British time. Starting things off, looks like we're going to be having some Croak action. Croak and Jade love, I like it. It was the deadly combo which we saw from Q2, worked really nicely. It looks like it'd be an Aston Shifu. Maybe Shifu was very popular in the previous rounds, but I don't believe we actually saw him in the rounds that took place last week. So we'll see what we can do today. This is, we have a slight change in the way it's going to actually be working. So previously it was first to 3 wins as your standard sort of Battlerite. The rounds are now actually been increased to 5, so the either team will have to win 5 rounds to make it into the next round. As you see Jade on the legendary mount. Is no max. Beautiful stuff. As the red team currently commanding our middle orb position, and we'll see how our first round starts off tonight. Really interesting team comps. I like the fact that no one's running support, but you're going for straight out damage, which was nice to see. So we're going to see middle orb spawning up now. Shifu does have the command position here. Easy being able to go right now for that. Charges on that. On the Jade is very nice blow though. Good use of the stealth there, plus good damage to his thunder ability. And nicely in the cap onto Croak. You hit the Astar. And then Simon focus put the first down on Jade now. Obviously in the latest patch, Jade has had a slight nerf, not massively. I think she kind of needed it. She's had a few tweaks to her talents, and also seeing her ultimate doing a little bit less damage. Can't be a bad thing. Yeah, really nice, well played by the red team. It was GG. So our teams today on the blue side is Midget. They're going to be going against our red team, Flux. And they are all grade 14, so the pros around here looking down on us nubs. As once again the red team looking very commanding here, and I feel that this middle orb, as I always kind of go on about, if you're able to secure it, getting those ultimates early, it's a nice bit of energy, even being able to use it on your extra abilities is really important. Once again the blue team kind of pushed out here, a nice conjure ability coming in by this avoid blocking that, but nice silence she is going to avoid the team coming in and used out, middle orb is up, but team looking to explode, coming by Asper, and really fast step down, as Jade once again already under 50% health as a red team looking to take round 2. Shifu does pick up a middle orb for his red team. Nicely done. Croak was 2 on the backside. I'm not sure how Jade actually died. I think she got hit by Asper's 2. They just used his Infernal Scorch to leave Croak really no chance here. So GG once again, the red team just take command of that middle orb, and it worked out really nicely for them. Well played. And we'll take 2 rounds. So once again, I say this is going to be a best of 5, well, first of 5. This is going to be the way through the rest of the tournament. But still in the semi-final and the final tonight, it will be a best of 3, but with 5 rounds. More Battlerite. What more could you want? I'm loving Jade's mount. I need to pick this up. It's beautiful. So I feel blue team really need to start trying to make something happen here. The thing what I really liked previously, what we saw the Q3 winners was actually Jade and Croak, and what really nice is that Croak would build up enough energy so that you'd have 1 bar to use his in cap, which lasts like around 2 seconds. Jade then cancels her stein, and that amount of damage they put out anyway, and then it's guaranteed that Jade's probably going to load a whole clip during this time. Croak's going to land some nice blade shots. But GG, really nice play here. The Astra and Shifu actually gets to the other end, but we haven't seen the blue team really do it at all yet. Shifu potentially looking to take this 2v1. Sudden death by Tyrion, and nice down toss, and he is actually going to take Jade here and potentially could turn this around. That is a new ultimate for Croak. Misses when a wind blade there, and that could be big. Especially at this kind of level, is deadly. Craig, nice ultimate coming in like Sheep there. Is actually going to drop Craig under 10% health. He is able to lunge towards both healths on the top side, and sudden death is closing on heroes. Sheep looking pretty good. Craig has enter stealth, and he is so, but even if he missed his stun somehow out of that, and with the 2 jabbing charges, it didn't matter that he missed the first one, and the red team will be taking this 3-0. Very nice. Well, the blue team were looking pretty commanding there. They were a bit unlucky not to take that then, but Sheep are a very strong champion. Jade was pretty low and he was able to pick her up. It was unfortunate. I think if Croak actually landed his Venom Wind, he got his ultimate and probably shouldn't have been, like, he was a bit impatient really. He kind of wanted to get it down straight away, and because of that he got caught out. And GG, missing your ultimate like that is huge, and he was able to take advantage of it. So well played. But I still do feel, as we saw then, if the blue team play it right, you know, they've got the stealth advantage here, so if they can actually line it up and get a nice in-cap from Croak, they can certainly turn this one around. But we'll see how it goes, as Shifu wants to go and get in. He has popped his country, but he's able to back up with his Croak there. It's the strong thing about him. He has his country, and even if you don't pop that, you just hit the spacebar and land it and run away. Nicely done. We do see Astar thrown out his firewall to block the incoming J down. He is up. Blue team, red team, looking up to get the Spiro. That's all this. That's going to pick that up. Red team. Nicely done. Croak currently under 20%. Nice silence coming from Jade onto Astar with a nice roll in the stun there. Unfortunately, with Croak being poked out at the moment, he didn't do anything. Astar Infernal Scorches up to see what he does with this. Jade's caught away from it. Top side. He's going to dash in there, and this really could go anywhere. Jade just landed 3 shots of her ultimate there, clipping only on the 3rd one, so not getting full damage. As she looks to try to take the middle orb, a nice silence coming in. I'm not sure who actually did pick that up in the end, but it was a good position for the blue team. Ascar only landed 1 projectile, nice foul. Silence coming in from Jade once again, and she lines up a slime. It was actually proc Shifu's conjure ability, but that's probably done more harm than good. But a big incap coming onto Croak, using the jab across to pull Croak into. But once again, Jade pointless silences this round. Previous earlier, she actually picked the middle orb up for her team. Nicely done, good use of RP to keep him away. Sudden death, there isn't really much damage in the field, but nice country once again. The end of Stout, he does actually miss a few attacks. Does get a nice jab in there, and he is going to drop. As the blue team take this game on. 3-1. Well played. That was very nicely done by Jade. She was certainly worthy of the MVP there, landing every silence, which proved deadly. We'll see how this next round pounds out. The problem really then was that Shifu didn't really get his counters off, and Jade was just really landed her silences nicely. As I mentioned, you know, this is a really even battle, and it could go any way. It just depends who's able to get those abilities off. Jade can land some silences, potentially catch them with a snipe. They're going to be no healers here. Those health orbs aren't really going to do enough to heal these guys up. But once again, the red team is going aggressive. Sheep is actually using country, making good use of his damage. Nice jam on top and a big in-cap coming off the Jade. Combos with Mortal Fist. That was actually drop with a 20% health for Astar. That's like a Croak, and Shifu is able to actually drop Jade on the top side there. Nicely done. Croak left it in a 2v1. I think he's really going to struggle to turn this around, as Astar is actually picking the middle of the process. So it's very powerful to make sure Croak has no chance of turning this one around. Once again, in the side of Debbie, we'll pick up both ends here. Ascar using his Infernal Scorch just to support the ground here. Sudden death closing in, Croak making maybe a nice javelin toss once again coming in from Shifu. Really been on point with those, and that's going to be 4-1 to our red side. Nicely done. Real good use of his javelin so far. He's been on point.
Sharp as the day I bought it.
Unfortunately for the blue team, they just couldn't deal with the aggression, and they could get his counters up this time. He's so deadly with the fact that he blocked the incoming projectile, that things are on top of him, and he can use space and avoid them coming damage for like 2 seconds. It's pretty strong, as we actually see the blue team being aggressive this time. They make the damage on the keeper, but once again using the country to block the incoming damage, and also get behind the Venom. It's already under 10% health and drops down. It was a nice attempt by the blue team. They needed to make something happen every time they got pushed to that top corner. It wasn't really working for them. But unfortunately, you can see the strength of Sheep destroy Jade. Another good javelin, making good use of his charged up toss. And Infernal Scorch is going to pick this up. And that's all 5 rounds done. Nicely done, as we're going to be moving into our second round very shortly. They're just going to have to wait for the other teams to finish. This was quite a quick game. It was very well played by our red team. I do really like the Jade and Croak combo, but I don't think we actually ever saw them get the in-cap sort of stun combo off once. They were just constantly pushed in. Because of that, they weren't able to build up enough energy. Croak was never really able to get that in-cap off. Jade, where they'd done so much damage, they were split, they weren't together. Bar that first one round they did win. It was really hard for them. It was well played. Shifu is just such a strong champion, as proven then. So it'll be a couple minutes, bosses, and we'll be able to jump into the next one. I'll get you up the brackets for the next round. What up, Dragon? How you doing, buddy? Missed the first game. It was pretty damn epic stuff. Thanks for the sheep and Astra actually wrecked it. So it's only a few minutes bosses until the next round, as this one ended pretty quickly, and with the games now being 5 rounds instead of 3, it's going to take a little bit longer. I'm not too sure why that is actually happening. It's not happening on my side. I'm not sure why. I don't know if Twitch is bugging out. I'll try and change the scene to see what's going on there. It seems to be bugging and going crazy for some reason. Okay, my bad. I shall turn it down. I recently formatted my computer and everything. The settings are all cocked up. Cheers for the heads up. Hopefully that should be better. Let me know. What up, Dreams? How you doing, boss? I will be doing a 24-hour stream as well next week, bosses. A mix of Battlerite League, Titanfall 2 as that's now. I'm really enjoying that. and also some Paragon probably. So yeah, it'll be next Saturday we're doing a 24-hour. And also to do with this tournament, this is the final qualifiers for the tournament. So basically what that means is there won't be a tournament next Friday. The next one will be the 11th of November, which is going to be the big final. So every finalist from the previous 4 tournaments, including this one, so that's both finalists, the winners get a better seed, and they're going to be going up for $250 on Friday, November the 11th. And that's for EU, and then there's a separate prize pool for NA, which would be, EU starts at 7 and NA will be at midnight. So it should be good. We're going to have all the best from the tournament, so it should be some big hype for that. So there seems to be some issue when I show you the brackets that the screen really bugs out. Hoping it may be sorted now. It's Windows' fault, we blame it on Windows. There's always something going down, nothing ever runs smoothly in my life. But yeah, the next game should be under shortly, bosses. Like I say, we're just waiting for the last couple of guys to finish up. So are you so on my screen at the moment, my Twitch, when I'm on the brackets, my Twitch is flashing like on and off. I don't know if that's happening for you, bosses. Every time I seem to try and open the brackets, the scene I've created seems to be flashing real badly. But it doesn't seem to do it for me on the other side. If it's not happening for you guys, then that's cool. Welcome, bosses, for all you guys joining now. The next round will be up very shortly. What way do you mean the game alive? Do you mean sort of the player base on the moment? I think that the game, if that's what you mean, that the game's pretty lively. Obviously there's the paywall at the moment, £15 to get in for the early access. And from what I get, you get into games really quickly, which sort of 20-second wait tops really for a game, which is cool. I've never actually played Bloodline Champions. I've heard a lot of good things about it, but yeah, the player base, I think there's a solid player base, and obviously once it goes free to play in January, I think that's going to open it up massively as well. But for something that you have to pay £15 to get into, I think there's a solid player base at the moment. I'm happy with how the speed of the games are. It's good. I'm really enjoying Battlerite. The latest patch has been really nice as well. It's all good, Dragon Man. All good. Hope life's treating you well. Hope everything went well with your cooking date. Oh no, I'm happy, man. I'm happy. It might be because I'm using a different mic. I'm happy. I believe it doesn't. It sort of it's changed the tone of my voice from what people have been telling me. I'm good. I really enjoyed that. It was one of the best Battlerite games. Or from the blue side, they did actually kind of. Red side even did actually wreck with the Shifu and Asgard, but that was really fun to watch. Hopefully, we'll be having some more good games like that, especially coming into the final. Nice, man. Hope you mean reading some cooking books, eh? Yeah, there is currently a grade system in. There is a grade system in Battlerite. So previously, until last week, there was just ranked. They've now added unranked, which is really nice. Just a standard mode, so you can play normals, because there was nothing worse when you wanted to play new champs and you're getting ranked. At the moment, it's just a point system. You get like if you win, you get around 10 points. It's 5 points, I don't know, depending on it, and then you lose so many. And it works from grade. I don't know if there's a grade 1. It's up to grade 15. Grade 15 being the highest. So I think that it seems pretty, for what it is, you know, the game is still very early, but I think they've got a solid platform for the game. There's 17 champions, I believe, out now, with Jamong and Rukan just being added. I think there's a really nice champion base. I never played Bloodline Champions, but I heard they had a capture the flag mode, which I think would be really cool. That's the one thing I kind of feel that the game is missing at the moment. So hopefully they can add some more game modes. That would be really cool. As long as you're happy, man. I'm glad you're happy. That's all good. So, like I say, game should be back up in a few minutes, bosses. I'm really happy with Battlerite. Like, I'm a big player of League of Legends. I've been playing League for like 5 years, and recently started playing Paragon since January when that came out in early access. But the problem is that you're always relying on your teammates, and generally I just play with one friend when it comes to sort of the online games, or two. Generally, there's only like 3 of us, and Battlerite hits it on the head. You know, it's 2v2, 3v3. It's a perfect game. It's quick and easy. 5-10 minute games. You jump in, you jump out. You can play multiple champions, and what they've got at the moment is a solid platform. So I'm very excited to see, especially once it goes free to play, what it has. You know, the tournament seems to be pretty cool. I've seen, like, since being casting these tournaments since the start of the month. I think it was the start of the month. We've done it, our 4th one now. There's been some really good players, and it's been making some big plays, which has been really cool. I don't personally play 3v3, so I'm not sure. The tournament we're doing now has only been 2v2, so I'm not really sure what the 3v3 scene is actually like. I don't really enjoy 3v3s. I've never done a 3v3 with randomers. I've done 3v3s with my friends, but I just find it quite a mess, and sort of it's not really my cup of tea. I like 2v2 because I'm in control of a 2v2, whilst 3v3 is a bit of a mess for me. But it seems, I think, you know, if you go into Evo game mode, the queue times are very short. One thing they've also done, because they've added the standard mode, and I'm not sure what the player base is like at the moment, with standard mode, basically, if you go into standard, you could go against someone who's playing ranked. Obviously, they'll be around the same elo as what you are, but you won't lose points and they'll gain points. Obviously, I imagine they'll be favoured to play ranked people playing ranked, but it's kind of nice to actually keep the games going, because with a game like this, you know, you want things to fast. You don't really want to be waiting around for things. So I think they've got a good system in place, and I'm really excited to see where it goes, really, especially once, like, say, free to play. If you do actually buy into the game, for anyone who hasn't bought or is thinking about it, if you pay the £15 at the moment, you will get every champion for free and every champion in the future for free. So once the game goes free to play, I believe the system would be like League of Legends, where you have to actually use in-game currency or real money to buy champions, which would be interesting to see how it works, because with obviously Chester buys cosmetics. If you've got to buy every champion as well, or get the champions you want, along with trying to get cosmetics for them, is going to be quite a bit of a challenge. So I'm not sure how that will sort of work. But at the moment, being a founder, we get everything, which is really cool. But yeah, we shouldn't be too far away, bosses. We're literally just waiting for the final guys to wrap up. Also, we'll be cancelling the NA tournament tonight, which will be midnight for us guys in England. 1 AM for everyone in Europe, outside of England. I guess we're not in Europe anymore. Sad times. So there's just 2 teams haven't reported in at the moment, bosses, so hopefully they should get back to us very shortly and we'll be able to get underway. So the way the system is going to be working for this one, it's a little bit different. 5 rounds instead of 3, so to win you have to win all 5, and then still with the semi-finals and finals they are going to be best of 3, but 5 rounds in each one. Give us a bit more Battlerite action. Also, I plan to probably highlight the best games from this tournament, like previously with the one from last week. I did a sort of a re-commentary over it with the Jamong and Rukan from last week's final, which was a lot of fun. It was interesting to see them getting played, and hopefully maybe we'll see some more now that people have actually had a week to sort of play around with them. But without a doubt, Shifu from last game, like, I think Shifu and Asuka are sort of real top tier picks at the moment. Hopefully we'll see some Rook as well, since he's actually been buffed with his potential to double charge with the right talent now. Makes him even more crazy. But yeah, should be underway shortly, bosses. Also, a quick side note for any of you guys that do actually have Battlerite. I noticed earlier today, I haven't actually sorted out myself, that Razer are doing a giveaway. I actually posted you the link. But if you actually have any Razer products, I believe it's any Razer products, you can actually get a green mount. So as you may have seen, some streamers have a red mount, the molten lava mount, and then some, like the top people, like the devs, have like a blue mount. You can actually get this green one if you actually have a Razer. I believe if you have some kind of Razer gear, you are able to enter a giveaway and also potentially get that mount, which is pretty cool. It looks like a cool mount. You can be right around in style, which is cool. So our next game is literally, they're just setting up the lobby now, bosses, and we'll be able to get underway with our next game. Big hype. Okay, they are ready, so it looks like we might be seeing some Bacco and Oldor, Mr. Longneck, versus Pearl and Taya. I think Pearl's a really strong champion at the moment. The amount of counters she can throw off, or the amount of bubbles she can throw out and then counter your abilities, and seems to have a pretty damn strong heal. On top of that, she also has her nice damage, has a silence, and then her ultimate. It's crazy, I find that her ultimate can actually, you can eat someone or eat multiple players and then actually spit them out. And funny enough, talk about the mount, there we are, actually showing it off is our blue team. How about that? So yeah, like I said, if you actually have a Razer product, you can get these mounts, which is really cool. Nice to see. It's a cool little touch. So with this game we're going to be seeing MK Prodigy versus Carl, which is grade 14 versus grade 13 teams in this one. We see both teams coming into the middle. Bacco already used a shield, a nice charge into Terra. She's actually split away from her teammate, so this is going to be support, but with the melee versus the range, which could be interesting. Bacco, Older could be a really strong combo as he does actually miss his incoming charge there. Mid orders up, and it looks like the red team should have command over this. Nicely done, a big pickup by them. And another nice knock-in. There's one thing you really do want to watch against him is being close to those walls. He does additional damage and locking you down in there. He does actually waste his snare as a nice bubble coming in by Pearl. Big damage from trading blows with his heroic charge, but what a nice tornado to actually save herself then. I really think that Taya, as much as she's kind of a little bit immobile, but with her haste and also her tornado, which you saw there, which she can use on allies as well, I've seen her multiple times juke out of ultimates as Bacco actually does miss his heroic charge, which for sure would have been left Pearl on a 2v1 then, but it is going to leave the red team in a bit of a bad spot as the blue team aren't looking pretty healthy. Once again, mid orb is going to come up as blue team start pushing in. Taya is a bit overextended here. Pearl's ultimate is up. We'll see what she does. She makes a nice charge coming in. She is actually going to miss Jaws there as we see Taya calling in her companion as both teams are trading blows. This really could go either way at the moment. Bacco dropping under ton health, and he is going to be dropped here. We'll see what Older can make happen. He's only got about 20% energy at the moment, so he's a bit far away from his ultimate. He's going to be able to pick up Bacco's Soul Watch. He does proc his ultimate, and we'll see what happens here as he starts rotating to the bot side. But we'll pull him up. A big silence coming in. He's currently dropped under 20 health at the moment, and well played by the blue team to turn that one around. That really could have went either way then, but GG. It was a really nice start by the red team. Bacco was putting some big damage down, but unfortunately missing his heroic charge there really did kind of cost him. Nicely done. As we see the blue team taking up on the first rounds. Once again, different to the other tournaments when you guys joining, this is going to be 5 rounds instead of the 3 rounds. Such a cool mount. Oh man, need to get my account linked up for sure. As we see both teams once again charging in. One thing what I do think could hurt them is Taya's a little bit aggressive. Bacco did really punish her this round, last round, but unfortunately just wasn't able to finish her off. As we see either team trading blows. We do have the double range for the blue team, so they do have a bit of a range advantage here, but once again, a nice charge coming in by Bacco to push the orb away to make sure that the red team can secure this one. As both of them are over about 50% energy now, shouldn't be too long before we actually see some ultimates coming out this round. There's already 30 seconds and the clock is down. Both teams trading blow for blow. Mid orb is about to come up in about 3 seconds with the red team once again taking the command in position here, but Bacco going to be aggressive here. He doesn't actually have his backup from his teammate as we look to see the red team just about. It wouldn't have taken much to stall that one, but Taya is actually going to call in her companion, but a heroic charge coming on the bot side back here. They are going to be split focus. Pearl's in a bit of trouble here. We can see if she does happen to have a dive ability, she does get a nice counter up here and blocks some damages. Taya absolutely wrecks back over then. Nicely done. It was a nice interesting switch focus, but she was able to come behind, and even though unfortunately his shield only blocks the incoming damage from the front side, or the side he's facing, he just get picked up there. Blue team do actually take the ult for the first time this game. As we see Older not really going to be having much chance here, as he does actually put a nice petrify down onto Taya, but I feel he's only really delaying time. And you actually see Jaws miss, but with sudden death closing in, he doesn't really have much option here. But I like his spirit, he's a fire man. As once again the blue team do actually pick up mid orb as he's dropping. So a nice whirlwind coming in, and a companion called once again as Older is dropped here, and that's going to be currently 2-0 to our blue team. Nicely done.
More cash for me.
We do see a few missed ultimates. Once again, Pearl did actually miss her ultimate, but it didn't really cost them too much anyway, as they had the command and lead. We're just going to wait for them to take their Tier 3 Battlerites, and then we'll begin into the next round. So still potential for the red team to be able to turn this around for sure. It's far from over, but the problem is if that they don't make those sort of charges and not be able to finish them up quickly. I feel that they are going to get outpoked here with just the one range compared to the two. The team trading blows, a nice haste coming in. She is actually going to avoid the incoming damage from Older there and gets a nice wind bomb, but doesn't really actually have the follow-up at the moment, as Pearl's just focused on keeping her ally healed up. Middle orb is about to spawn, and we'll see the red team a nice charge once again coming in by Bacco, and almost stolen then. The wind bomb did actually suck him in, but she wasn't able to get a boomerang in time to actually pick that up. And a nice shield and charge coming in onto Taya, but once again making nice use of a tornado to actually throw her out of harm's way. We're 40 seconds into this round, and the red team getting really aggressive here. Nice petrify coming on the Pearl, but a big silence and counter is actually going to avoid this. Again with nice use out of her bubble to avoid the incoming damage, as the red team currently under 50% health. The blue team looking a little bit better here. A nice knockback coming in from Taya, but she is taking some big poke, and do actually, I believe the blue team secured the middle orb this time around thanks to Taya's boomerang. Nice wind bomb, but Older is actually going to be able to shoot out the incoming damage. We do see an ultimate missed by Pearl, a nice full charge coming in by Bacco. He does actually have his ultimate, and Taya calls it in her companion. He decides to actually use his shield rather than his heroic charge, and again using his shield to avoid the incoming damage as Taya's companion starts to put some work down. We did miss, we picked up the orb there, and he actually does miss his incoming dodge and gets knocked away, dropping him under 30 health as the team trade blow for blow. A nice shield coming in, but once again he's actually behind. A nice pace coming in from Taya. He's actually going to be able to get the position advantage, but big damage coming out of the Pearl as Bacco is dropped here, and I think Older is really going to struggle to turn this one around. But both of the blue team low health here, but with only 10% energy at the moment, he's a bit away off from getting his ultimate. Both healths are up on the top side. We're once again to see Taya calling her companion, and Older really doesn't have too much of a chance here as we enter a sudden death. Nice silence coming in. GG. So that's actually going to be 3-0 for our blue team. Once again, this is a first to 5. So still potentially 2 more rounds to go, or potentially we could see 6 more. It's going to be a big turnaround for the red team. I do think that they can do it. They certainly have the damage, but the problem at the moment is that even though he's landed some nice charges onto Taya, one, she has her knockback to disengage if she does get caught out, or as we've seen already, she's made great use of her tornado to actually fling her out of harm's danger. Then Chuck Pearl's bubble on top, it slows the enemy and also blocks the incoming damage nicely, and all whilst Pearl's just healing them up. I think Pearl's one of the strongest supports in my opinion at the moment. Certainly proven that at this point in time, but the problem I say the blue team are just kind of being able to out-survive them and then poke them down very nicely. But certainly close battles. The red team I wouldn't feel necessarily hard done by. Not too sure what they're talking about. They're obviously not too happy with something in the chat at the moment. As we see both teams trading blow for blow. Older already taking a bit of a beating. Taya is actually going to be able to use her haste to avoid the incoming Valiant jump. as blue orb, the middle orb is just about to spawn. So he picks this up. A nice charge coming in by Backo. And once again, the red team do actually pick up this middle orb, but we've already dropped under 50% health. He's really going to struggle here, as you see once again. Terra calling her companion, another miss, valiant lead. And all while this, they're just getting poked. He really needs to be landing these things to get that short stun. Actually start putting some damage down. A nice petrify onto Terra is actually going to allow Backo to put some nice damage onto the blue side Jade. But once again, a nice boomerang combo along with that stun there is actually going to probably drop him here, as Aldor's once again left in a 2v1. He just decided to try and go and Pearl. Avoids the incoming counter. A nice knockback coming out of Terra. Once again, middle orbs up, and we're only 5 seconds away from sudden death here. But he's currently sitting under 40 health. He does actually able to pick middle orb up for himself. A nice whirlwind coming in. She's actually going to avoid that incoming damage. Both energy orbs are up, as the blue team easily pick up Aldor. He just had his ultimate, but even with his timer sands up, I think he would have really struggled to have done anything more than. GG, well played by the blue team. And that's going to take us to 4-0 with potentially 1 round left, or we could see a big comeback. Fingers crossed, eh? One can hope. And I never like seeing my man Backo again drop. I feel that he's done well. It's just unfortunate that, you know, the blue team have so much disengage, and then they just outpoke them once Backo's kind of got in, especially if he misses that valiant lead, which he actually has a couple of times. He's just getting outpoked the whole time, and that's kind of really the issue here. As you see, both teams trading blow for blow once again. A nice charge coming in by Backo is actually going to put some good solid damage off to start this one up, but he's actually kind of split away from Aldor at the moment as he's taking a bit of a beating. Mid orb is up, and the red team pushing the blue team. A nice petrify coming in by Aldor is actually going to lock Terra in place for the moment. But a bit of split focus coming from the red side. We do actually see them pick up the middle orb this time around. As caught the top side, a nice knockback once again, and they can actually now start poking them out. We're about 20% away from everyone's ultimates as each team trades blow for blow. Nice play coming in by the red team. They're looking a bit commanded here. Taylor's Finor ultimate and misses the avoids the valiant leap. As we see middle orb up once again, a big boomerang stun coming in is actually going to drop both team on the red side under 30% health, as Taya is making great use of the tornado once again and picking up mid orb in the process. I feel that the red team are really going to struggle this, as she is about to call in her companion once again this round, as Aldor's left on the top side of the zone. Pearl's got enough health to really deal with Backo. Unfortunately, his valiant leap does actually chuck him back into the incoming draws and straight into a boomerang. One nice thing, obviously, because you can see where the ally is coming, or the enemy is coming. Once Jaws is eaten, you can see reposition it, and you know where it's going, which is great for anyone with some strong CC, or in that situation, Jay was able to chuck out her boomerang nicely, which caught him out, and he really stood no chance. Great play by the blue team. I feel the red team did play well. I don't think, as much as it was a 5-0, you know, sometimes when you look at a game, you think, okay, it was 5-0. I do feel that the red team played it well, but it was hard for them. Backo landed some real nice charges into the wall, and Alder was chucking out some little sand bombs. But unfortunately, really, the blue team with Jade's Pearls, with her bubbles, was able to slow the pace down, block some incoming damage, and Taya making good use of a knockback, and then also a haste to reposition herself along with a stun, and great use of that whirlwind to actually figure out a couple of times, and also avoid that incoming ultimate in the first round. So GG. We're gonna move. I'll get the brackets up for you bosses once again, and it'll probably be a couple minutes before the next round as we just wait for the other couple of games to wrap up. But well played by our blue team as they move on to the next stage of our Q4 tournament tonight. Once again, the NA tournament will be starting at midnight. That's for us English, British summertime. I believe it's 1 AM for anyone else in Europe, and it works out for 7 PM if you're American. So yeah, it was a really nicely played, great use of a hurricane really coming out, or tornado. Same but different. Coming out by tear then really to be able to disengage and reposition itself multiple times, throwing it behind Backo and able to put some nice damage down. So like I say, we're just going to be, for any of you guys joining now, we're just going to wait on the final games to wrap up and we'll be able to jump on to the next tournament. It looks like it's probably going to actually be about 5 minutes bosses, so you can go grab a drink, do whatever you need to do. I'll put on my top 5 plays as there's not going to be much happening with the brackets at the moment. Again, if any of you bosses are currently on Battlerite and you have some top 5 plays, I do 2 episodes a week, generally on a Monday and Friday. I'm currently actually behind the mine, it should be up tomorrow for my episode 8. You can check out my channel, Mr. Big Russ 666, and just go on to any of the Battlerite videos and post your clip, post your username and the replay ID, and potentially you could be featured in the next episode. We've seen some really nice plays, older 3v1s. I've got a Jamong 1v3 coming up soon, some real nice crutch 2v1s coming out, the likes of Croak right now. It's great to see you guys putting out the big plays, and hopefully we'll see some more big plays throughout tonight's tournament, EU and NA. Any for you bosses joining again, we'll be about 5 minutes, we're just waiting for the final few games to finish up. And also on a quick side note, the link which you probably can see in chat at the moment from myself is for a Razor mount. If you have any Razor gear, you can actually link your account up and you'll be able to get a green mount similar to the molten fire mounts you see running around, what all the streamers generally have. You can get one of your own if you've got some Razor gear. There'll be about 2 to 3 minutes for next round bosses, and we'll be able to get underway. So far the games have been pretty quick. So don't forget the NA one will be at midnight, and the winners of this, so there won't be actually a Battlerite stream or Battlerite tournament stream next Friday, as this is going to be the last qualifier. What that means that come November the 11th, which is in 2 weeks time, next Friday at 7 PM, we will be the final. So everyone from the previous tournaments, Q1 to Q4, so there's been 2 finalists in each one. They will all be moving on to there, where there's $250 up for grabs. The winners from each final of Q1 to Q4 will have a better seed, and we'll have the one at EU 7 PM and NA once again at midnight, and there's both $250 up for grabs. So we're going to have the best of the best. All the previous winners, we've seen some big plays coming out, and I'm really looking forward to it. We've seen some nice games already today, and seen nice games throughout the whole tournament. There's been some really big plays, and good players coming out of it, so it's going to be exciting to see what they can bring together as the best of the best head up on November the 11th, which is a Friday, 7 PM at the start. You can keep up to date with it all at PlayTourney. You can follow on their Facebook page or join their Discord channel. I'm sure if any of you guys that are currently in the tournament at the moment, you've joined the Discord channel, I'll post the links now, and you can give them a follow if you want to keep up to date with the tournament, what's going on. Once November the 11th is finished, they're going to be getting another one up and going, and it should be good. And you guys can all get back in again and show off your mad skills. So yeah, shouldn't be too long for the next round bosses. As soon as the brackets have updated at the moment, I'll give you a quick showdown of who's going to be moving on into our next round at the moment. So this is our quarterfinals. The next will be semi and finals, which are going to be best of 3. So at the moment there's currently 5 rounds and you're moving on. Next time it'll be 5 rounds and you'll have to win at least two of those to progress onto the final. Welcome, boss. Our next game will be up very shortly. We're just waiting for the final team to wrap up and we'll be able to get into our quarterfinals. I'm not too sure what you mean by getting bodied, but it doesn't sound too much of a pleasant experience, so hopefully this is a bit more enjoyable for you. Okay, it looks like the lobby's just getting set up now, and we'll be literally about 20 seconds and we'll be able to jump into the next round, boss. Okay, we're just waiting for them to make sure they're happy with everything, pick the map they wish to be playing on, and we'll be able to get underway for our first quarterfinal game tonight. All alpha testers, they've been on the game a little while. I wish I found out about the game a little bit earlier myself. I only heard about it when it literally I think it literally was on Steam for a day and it really sort of skyrocketed, and I thought, well, this looks like a game that I want to get into, and been loving it ever since. Oh, I see, you're in the I got you, you're in the previous round, I see. Feels bad, eh, man, feels bad. So, it looks like, before, a lot of, last week we saw a lot of Bacco and Lucy, so I didn't really like it. I don't think they actually really won anything, so it doesn't look like it's going to be the case here. It looks like maybe some Jamong, one of the latest champions to hit, obviously, on patch 0.8 with the Halloween update, and he does actually have the little pumpkin Halloween weapon as well. I believe the chests are still available to the 5th of November, so you've still got a bit of time for any bosses that want to pick up some of the legendary weapons from the chest. I'm a big fan of Jade's skin, and also Lucy has her little spider one as well. I'm a big fan of Jade's Halloween, the little skeleton gun she has is so cool. Well, not little, it's quite big. Looks like we're just waiting for the blue side to make up their mind who they want to play. You can't seem to choose between Mr. Longneck and little Lucy. Maybe seeing some Taya here. I was quite looking, I'm hoping to see some Jamong. I heard Jamong is a really strong champion at the moment. If you play that, he's got a big... Every champion certainly has a high skill cap to play them well. More so than him. If you can make good use of his stealth to get that stun proc and also the reset with his leap through the charge up on his auto attack, can be deadly. And then his ultimate, you can land that bad boy and you're in for a good time. A bit, it just doesn't look like they can make up the mind. Alright, the mind has been made. So it looks like it's actually going to be Jamong and Lucy versus Taya and Lucy. I believe it was Lucy he picked in the end, potentially. Which is a good thing. That would have, what a game that would have been if it was Taya and Lucy beat Lucy. So we're going to see a slight difference. Lucy does really seem to be a popular support pick during these tournaments. I think she is strong, you know, she has a nice panic and the shields. Her ultimate can be quite deadly, but at the same time it's quite easy to sort of get out of it though. The Petrify she can go, so she does have the Razor mount once again for any of us that have joined and unsure how you can get this new green fancy mount you see everyone running around. If you have a Razor product, there's a link in chat probably a couple minutes back and you can actually find out how to get it. As we see a nice wind bomb coming in from Taya as each team trade blow for blow at the moment. You can see actually there Lucy's shield on Jamong, and it does actually block a lot of incoming damage. And it's kind of worth in some sense just keeping up your spells and not avoiding just letting it time out really, as it's quite hard to actually break through. As you see middle orb come up, a nice panic coming on to Taya, as I believe Red's blue side actually did pick that up then. Nice attack coming from Jamong as he makes good use of the style. His ultimate is up and we do actually see him charge up, getting a big stun onto Taya then. The thing what you have to remember with Jamong, he does double the damage if he actually charges up, so it's around about a 2-second charge to get the full amount of damage, which obviously it's not so hard against Taya unless she actually uses her tornado to dodge it, as she's quite mobile in some sense. She's not like say a Jade where she can enter style for jump away. But it was a big stun, and once again we're actually going to see him have his Dragon Slayer up once again, but using his auto attacks to monk down here. Nice deadly impact coming in, and he actually does he does hit both targets with his ultimate then, knocking Lucy into Tear to pick up a kill, and even though she does chuck down her goo, it's not going to be enough as the blue team easily take round 1 then. Good use of his ultimate, that was really nice. There was a big hit onto Tear originally, and then also the fact that he was able to kill both targets with his ultimate then was nice to see. GG. So once again, this is 5 rounds compared to our 3 rounds in the previous games, and this is our quarterfinals, moving into the semi-finals where it will be a best of 3 instead. So this is one of the mounts you can actually pick up from the Halloween packs. I like his little socks he's wearing. It's pretty fancy stuff on the back section. But a nice whirlwind coming in from Tear, but we're getting rooted from this bear trap. She's unable to actually make anything happen. As we see Jamong stacking up, obviously he wants to keep his stacks up on his auto attack there, so that if he gets caught out, he can use the double space ability. As we see him make use of there. Nicely done. Once again, Midget orb moves up. These two traders below. It is actually knocked away, and the red team are actually going to pick that up. Jamong does use his Rain of Arrows, but not making too much happen there. Rain of Arrows, if you actually do use it on the middle orb, will secure it, but can be stolen in the process. As we see each team cleaning up. Lucy does have her ultimate ready. We'll see if she decides to go for that or decide for a Petrify Sedge, as you actually see. Tear is actually going to call upon her companion, but really not making too much happen here. It looks like it's going to time out really before it's making use. They do some skill on the middle orb, which is nice, but a bit of a waste for an ultimate. Either team trading blow for blow. A nice panic onto Tear as it leaves Lucy currently on her own. A nice Rain of Arrows is actually going to snare her in place. A big wind bomb coming in is actually going to place the two champions as Lucy is still currently alive at the moment with middle once again coming up. Blue team do look in a bit more of a commanding position here as they do actually lose out. Lucy's on 20% health, knocked away. Jamong eating a bit too much of that gas, landing a nice bow and arrow onto Lucy. As I feel the blue team are looking pretty commanding. We've got about 30 seconds before we end the sudden death. I'm not too sure if we're actually going to get there at the moment. As we see Dragon Slayer about to be popped. He does actually secure middle orb for it, but that was a bit of a waste really. I feel that he probably should have actually hit the cancel button instead of going with that then. But the blue team do look commanding, and it might not actually cost them, but we'll see how it makes. Making a nice use of his stealth to get the in cap there, and then also chucking down his bear trap to make sure he gets the root, using both dashes with his charged up auto attack. You're actually going to see him use his ultimate once again. Can he make? I was hoping we were going to see a 360 no scope onto Tear, then that would have been beautiful. He actually used his Rain of Arrows instead of his that would have been pretty cool. He actually killed Lucy then and spun around and no scoped the Tear. But GG, nicely done by the blue team.
I'm just so amazingly awesome at this.
Is this any bad? My bad, boss. Hopefully this should be a little bit better for you. If it is a bit too quiet, just let me know and I'll be able to boost up the volumes. Nicely done by our blue team here, as I think they're going to look pretty commanding at the moment. The red team certainly could turn this around, but Jamong's making good use out of his stealth to get the in caps. Once again we do see a nice whirlwind bomb, but really there's just no follow up from it at the moment. As we see each team trading both of lows. He makes good use of his bear trap. The one thing is bear trap, it is an instant cast, so the nice thing what you can actually do is if you go in with your Q, circle them, obviously get the procs, in cap them, and then chuck your bear trap down. They're actually going to be locked in place for quite a reasonable amount of time, especially if you have Rain of Arrow. You're going to do some nice damage there. As you do actually lose out on middle orb as the team trading blow for blow. So Lucy's battle out on the bot side as Jamong starts to put some nice damage down onto the Tear, but she does actually fight back, and it's looking pretty even at the moment. Middle orb about 6 seconds away from spawning it once again. Her ultimate is ready. Jamong not too far away from actually having his Dragon Slayer himself. The middle orb looking like it's actually going to fall to the blue team, which it has. A nice Seeker's Mark coming in with the in cap, but no real focus at the moment. It's kind of costing either team. Tear did actually waste her armor. I'm not sure why it ended so quickly then, but it's gone to waste her as she's taking some big damage. A nice root coming in as Jamong is dying up his Dragon Slayer, but unfortunately she makes good use of a tornado, but he does actually still hit the red side Tear, put some nice damage in. Once again using his stab to get the root, and it looks like the blue team are in a very commanding position here as enemy red side are both under 20% health. With 30 seconds remaining, nice panic incoming. They really need to look to end this. even though the red team potentially could heal up, I think they're going to struggle to heal up enough here to really turn us around. We do see Taya actually have her ultimate ready and a nice petrify coming up wrong to actually slow down the pace of things. As Taya calls in her ultimate, but I think it's all going to be a bit too late here as we see the blue team taking a little bit too long to actually finish this off. But with the house on the red side, it's going to really be too much, I feel, for them to turn this one around. If we are about to enter sudden death, a big panic and deadly infection coming onto the red side, Lucy. With middle orb up once again. We do see, I believe, the blue team pick that up. A nice petrify coming onto Jamon is going to delay things. A big deadly infection. His ultimate is ready. A nice route coming onto Lucy this time around. As we see him line up his ultimate, but a really nicely timed tornado once again. And this is what I mean with Taya, even though she is quite mobile, but she can make great use of that whirlwind, which we saw last round as well against the Bacco. It can be pretty deadly, but they were so low, it was really going to be hard for them to do much here. Okay, I will okay, my bad. I will sort out right now for you bosses. I'm using like a new mic, so I think all my settings are all a bit too loud or a bit all over the place. Okay, I've dropped the game volume down by quite a bit. Hopefully that should be better for you bosses. If not, I can change it again. Just let me know. So nicely done. That was really good by the blue side there. As we see them take it 3-0, but we still do have 2 rounds, so there's plenty of time for the red team to turn it around. This really could go either way for sure. Nicely done by the blue team so far. The thing what we've really just seen, wow, is that Jamon's just putting out a lot more damage, I feel, than what Taya is. As he makes some big damage already coming here, it does make good use of his rain of arrows to drop her under 50%, Lucy under 50% health, once again using his bear trap to secure that route. Taya does use her whirlwind, but it wasn't really needed in that situation there. Maybe a little bit earlier could have, but with the game so early on, she didn't have the energy as blue team do actually pick up the middle orb. Once again, we do have Dragon Slayer lined up, and we'll see what dragons are hit. And this one, as he does decide to go in, makes a nice in-count, a good whirlwind, and he is actually going to land his ultimate. That whirlwind actually kind of guaranteed he was actually going to hit his ultimate then, but Taya really didn't have much choice then to actually try to help her buddy Lucy out then. Nicely done. That was the most convincing round yet. They went in and they created some big damage. Sweet. I'm glad it's good. Yeah, I hope everything's cool. So if you guys have any issues whatsoever with the audio levels, just let me know and I'll be able to tweak them easy enough. Nicely done. That was big. The Jamon just instantly went in, made great use. The thing with his Q, with his stealth, I'm not sure what talents he's taken. Unfortunately, we can't. It'd be nice if we could actually see the talents whilst we're in game. He has. I don't believe he's taken it. No, he's gone for more of a damage build. It isn't really needed in this situation, but you can actually take a Battlerite that increases his stealth, which basically means that, or he can do it anyway, but you see how long it lasts? If both the enemies are close enough, he can actually mark both of them and then get the in cap, which is just, the fact if you can hit both targets is just GG. But as I say, there's a really nice combo. You go in there with your Q, and if you have all 3 auto attacks stacked up, you get your double dash with the spacebar, and obviously with the build he's gone, he gets a bleed from that. And then he chucks his bear trap down. I think he might have gone for the increased projectile damage if he Qs in and then chucks down his bear trap. And then with the increased projectile damage, his spacebar is going to like do 10 additional damage, which doesn't sound much, but when champions only have like around 150 health, it soon mounts up. A nice ultimate. That was actually a fully charged one. It does hit Taya into the wall. Red team do pick up middle orb for once this round. But I think the blue team are looking pretty commanding, but a nice ultimate coming in by the red side. Lucy is actually going to use Lucy in a 2v1. Taya using a whirlwind to get away from incoming danger. A nice panic is going to allow the red team to start healing up. That was a nice ultimate coming in by Lucy then, along with Taya getting her boomerang stun to actually lock Jamon down. And it looks like the red team are going to take this. And that's what we need to see. That was really nicely done. With Jamon going so aggressive, he didn't actually have anything to get away. Taya lands a nice boomerang stun, and then comboed with the ultimate, he just choked to death. GG. Nicely done. So that is currently 4-1. Do we have a comeback on our hands? Let's see. Big plays coming in. As we see each team trading blow for blow as we start off. We're probably going to be about 7 seconds away from middle orb coming up. We did see blue team have been pretty commanding on that, which has actually really helped them, but Jamong already on 50% health, getting a bit too aggressive here, and he didn't actually get the chance to go in with his stealth, and Taya really putting some nice damage here. Big Petrify is actually going to make sure that the red team do pick this up and are going to be a bit closer to their ultimates, as they are looking pretty commanding here. A nice whirlwind. We do actually see Jamong picking up his Dragon Slayer once again. He's been on pretty point with them, but at the moment with them being poked out so much, I don't think even that was going to give him a helping hand. You see middle orb about to spawn, 40 seconds into this 6th round. A nice Petrify coming on Jamong once again allows the red side to pick up the middle orb, but the companion is going to be called in. Dragon Slayer does actually hit Lucy, but really only using it for disengage here and not putting much damage. She does actually have a sticky goo up this time around. A nice whirlwind. Unfortunately, she's a little bit late, and he's able to actually duke it out this time, but it isn't going to make too much of an issue as the red team are starting the comeback, and that's what I'd like to see. Lucy giving up, there wasn't really much hope for her, and GG, so it's currently 4-2. Still life in this one, yeah. Really nicely done. I think the problem there was Jamong's got a bit overconfident. He went into Taya, but he didn't actually really get any of his combo off. Like the whole, as I keep mentioning, he goes in there with his stealth, he then gets the proc, and then uses his bear trap, but he didn't even, or he did not, he didn't actually get, he didn't get any mark. Again, we see him miss it. So once he uses his Q like there and doesn't actually make anything happen, now he doesn't really have any disengage bar or space bar, and he's just getting poked out. He doesn't get the stun, he misses a lot of his combo, and this is the issue we're seeing here, is the red team looking pretty commanding again, as the blue team under about 50% health do actually pick up middle orb. A nice whirlwind is going to block the incoming damage, as we see each team trading blow for blow. The blue team is a bit closer again, our ultimates stand the red side at the moment. Middle orb's about 6 seconds away as we're 30 seconds into this round. A nice panic is actually going to avoid that incoming burn arrow. A nice deadly infection and combo coming in. A good use of a knockback. But the blue team is starting to slowly turn this around, as we do see red team pick up middle orb. A nice panic coming in. And we are going to see a big Dragon Slayer coming onto Taya. Unfortunately, not too much of a great ultimate coming out of the red side, Lucy, as the blue team nicely turn this around. It was a good start by the red side, but they not really should. The blue team really just proved they had the better damage. It was a big ultimate come out by Jamong, and Lucy unfortunately chucked her ultimate out, but he still had his dash and he was able to avoid the incoming danger and really didn't take too much from that damage over time. Nicely done. Well played by our blue team. Very dominant. The red team I think played well, but unfortunately the blue team just had a bit too much power there and were able to pick that one up. So we're going to probably be a couple minutes before the next round bosses, so you can go chat, grab a drink, and we'll be able to actually jump in. It's going to be our semi-finals next, so the way semi-finals work for any guys that are new to the tournament, it's going to be a best of 3, so we have 5 rounds. The winner will have to then win another game, another 5 rounds to progress onto the final, which will be again a best of 3. And the winner of tonight's final, or both finalists from tonight's final, with the winner having the better seed, will be moving on to the ultimate final. This obviously being Q4 on November 11th, which will have all the finalists from Q1, Q2, Q3, and tonight's battling out for $250. Big hype. So I get the tournament, I get the brackets up for you bosses, whilst we just wait for the next couple of games to finish up. Alright, we shouldn't be too much longer, bosses. It looks like the games are wrapped up. We're just going to wait for the new lobbies to be set up, everyone to be happy, and we'll be able to jump into our first semi-final of our Q4 tonight. Once again, at midnight, it will be the NA tournament. Up until then, I'll be streaming some Battlerite. Me playing, I don't know if I'll be pulling off the level of skill that we've been watching, but we should have a bit of fun. We'll see what happens. But yeah, be about 2 or 3 minutes, we'll be able to jump into the semi-finals, which will be a best of 3. Alright, bosses, they're just setting up the lobby for the semi-final will be shortly underway. Just in about a minute and we'll be able to start our first semi-final tonight. Big hype. Alrighty then, here we go. So this is going to be our first semi-final of tonight. This will be Q4 for our EU tournament. It's going to be a best of 3. So will be 5 rounds here and potentially 15 rounds. Oh, it could be even more than 15 really, depending on how it goes. I'm not going to do the maths. That's too much for me. So the teams we're going to be seeing playing out are going to be Flux versus Mycon Prodigy. Flux are our blue team. They are both ranked 14, with our red side being ranked 14 and 12, both with their Razor mounts. Big hype for the Razor. as we see Taya going super aggressive onto Lucy here. This was the Shifu combo we saw from earlier, which completely wrecked the Jade and Croak. He does make nice use of his Conjure ability, going to a dab and toss, getting a big double in cap, and you can see how long that actually lasts for. It just allows Taya to be completely pounded down here as he uses his staff to get away, making good use of his javelin toss. The one thing with it, as much as it can be used to be aggressive, it can be my apologies, guys. For some reason the game didn't actually come up then. As we see both teams trading blow for blow. It was a good start off with the blue side. Apologies that they, for some reason the stream didn't actually switch over, as Shifu making good use of his Whirl Blade to put some big damage down as he picks up once again both health orbs, and this match still continues. It looks like the blue team he's going to pick it up. Good use of his javelin with the charged up there, does some big damage and allowing him to actually pick up as he decides to go onto the red side Pearl. Trading blow for blow, we are going to see our ultimate, but Shifu is still able to avoid it with his stealth. He only had about a few milliseconds left on that one, and he is actually going to be able to pick up Pearl. And Taya knows her fate, and she is going to let the blue team pick her up. Nicely done. Nicely picked up. So once again, this was, I say, the blue team that were very strong. I keep, every time I look at Lucy, I just, how skinny she is. Her legs her legs are tidy, and her arms. I'm surprised she just like doesn't get crushed, especially if like Rook come charging into her. She doesn't like break in half. But it certainly could go into red side favor. You know, I feel as long as they can kind of avoid Shifu's Conjure ability, make sure they don't proc that, as it's hard enough just with its spacebar, the stealth he gets from that, and him being able to go immortal for those few seconds. But you add that Conjure ability where he actually repositions himself behind you, as we do actually see him use it here to get onto the red side Pearl. He does have his blade fully stacked up, but nice knockbacks there, and he's actually going to drop under 50% health as he does come in, gets a nice double in cap once again, and we can see how long that actually lasts for, as he uses his javelin toss to rotate to the middle orb and pick that up for his team. But it has left his blue side Lucy all alone, as she's caught in the bottom corner here, as he does rotate back, get a nice javelin toss, and is actually going to able to push Taya away. But with Lucy taking such a pounding there, the red side are looking pretty commanding. A nice in cap coming onto Pearl is going to leave Taya alone at the moment for good use of boomerang stun to keep him at bay. Red team do actually pick up middle orb this time around, as we're about a minute through this second round, with each team trading blow for blow. The red team looking very commanding at the moment. Shifu tried to make a nice play again for the aggression, but unfortunately it was really well played by the red team. Taya made a great use of her knockback to keep him away, along with the silence from Pearl meant that he couldn't actually counter any of the incoming damage, and dropped under 40% health. A nice draw ultimate coming in. He does counter with his Kanju, but stuck on the top side. Once again, I really feel the blue team are being a bit too split here. With Shifu going in so aggressive, it just left Lucy alone, as he then rotated to get middle orb. Lucy didn't get the message and took too much of a pounding, really. So I think Shifu kind of cost them there, with him just going way too aggressive then with his javelin toss, and then also using the disengage. Lucy didn't get the message, and both of them, they just didn't have enough teamwork. And the problem is, when you go in 1-by-1, he gets chunked out by 50% health. It's always going to be hard to actually heal back through that, especially without doing any damage to the enemy side. But one apiece. Really could go either way, as we see Shifu mounting the limited edition mount. The invisible unicorn is truly magical, as we do see him miss his first javelin toss here. Going on to Taya, she does make good use of her whirlwind to reposition herself, as he wastes his Conjure ability once again, re-engaging with his javelin toss, but a nice pull back and silence coming out by the red seed. With middle orb up once again, blue team aren't able to secure this, as they are red side are pushed away here. Nice use of his javelin to pick up both health orbs. Taya completely zones out Lucy, with Pearl being left alone. A good use of a whirlwind, again being able to reposition her teammate. The fact she can also use it on an ally is gorgeous. Middle orb up once again. It looks like the blue team are in a commanding position to pick this up, with either team not really, this really could go anyway, as both team trading evenly at the moment. But a big ultimate coming from Pearl, but nicely countered by Lucy with a big petrify. Jaws isn't going to eat anything this time around, as once again Shifu does actually waste his Kanju, but it doesn't look like it's going to cause too much of an issue, with the blue team looking a little bit more commanding at this moment in time. We do see him go in, a nice knockback is allowed the red team to actually pick up middle orb this time, as we see Shifu really trying to put the damage in, once again wasting his Kanju ability. It's really well read by the red side, as he does make a nice ultimate here, as Taya is able to avoid the last few ticks with her knockback and good use of her haste. Once again, Jaws is going to be taking nothing home with him tonight as he bites the dust, but Lucy is dropped under 20% health at the moment, a big in-cap, but the red team using their range advantage here really to poke them out, and again, for about the 5th time this match, his Kanju ability hasn't been procced, and without that being procced, he leaves him vulnerable for sort of the next 10 seconds. Also, it's a big counter for him to actually get behind his opponents to then to put the additional damage from his charged up spear. As we see Shifu getting dropped here, I do feel that the blue team certainly can pull this off, but they're going to have to play it a little bit more teamly, as they kind of split once again here, and really nicely done by the red side.
I did better.
GG. As we come into round 4, currently 2-1 to our red side. We'll see what the blue team can put off here. Shifu's going to have to be a little bit more careful, but a nice knockback by Taya here. And once again, a waste of his Kanju is going to allow the red team to start using their range to poke them down. We do see Poe actually waste her silence here, but it doesn't look like it's going to cost them too much. With middle orb spawning in a matter of seconds, again another great use of her knockback. The problem at the moment, every time Shifu goes in, he's leaving it too long, allowing Taya to actually reset the cooldown of that knockback and create that distance between them. With the distance, her and Poe can also land a couple nice auto attacks. As we see once again another missed Kanju, with Taya already calling in her companion, chucking out a nice net onto Shifu as he is actually split away from his teammate. He does pick up middle orb for the blue team here, with the red team looking pretty commanding. We do actually see Pearl land her first ultimate this game onto Lucy, which actually can leave Shifu in a 2v1 as he's taking a big chunk of his health, currently under 10% health. A nice shield coming in by Lucy is actually going to keep him up for a little bit with another miss Kanju. As we see Taya calling a second ultimate this time around and able to easily drop Shifu, and looks like they're going to take this to a 3-1 pretty commandingly. I feel the biggest issue here at the moment is that every time Shifu goes in, Taya's just constantly knocking away, and then he gets silenced, and then the bubble to disengage him and slow him. And the red team are then just using their range advantage to really poke down the blue team, and they just don't have an answer for it. Really, obviously, with him having 2 charges on his javelin toss, once she actually uses a knockback, he needs to go straight back in, as every time he leaves it, it's back up, and she's just going to do the same thing over and over again. And fair play to the red side, they've really avoided proccing that counter of his, as without that, he's just really struggling to get in, as we see once again the knockback, and now Shifu's just kind of left unable to do anything, as another counter missed. I feel if he actually can start timing his counters a little bit better, maybe starts using a different strategy here, it's really going to help the blue side start trying to turn this tide around, as the red team looking pretty commanding once again as they do actually secure middle orb here. Poe was able to pick up both energy orbs on this right-hand side, as we see Taya once again already calling in her companion, chucking out some nice boomerang blade, as Shifu is able to avoid some of the incoming damage with his immortal ability. Blue team look like they are actually going to be able to pick up middle orb this time around. Nice use of his charged up blade to pick that up for his side, with about 5% away from getting his ultimate. Nice knockback coming out from Pearl with the counter, and using her dive to also proc her silence here, as Shifu does get some nice chops with his blade here. Actually, that was great use of it. With her dive already down, she had no way of escaping that, and that was good use from him. As we see red team actually pick up the middle orb, with Pearl once again missing her ultimate. Will this cost them, as Taya is going to get her ultimate for the 2nd time this round, looking to focus down the blue side. Lucy, some nice incoming damage, which she's able to use the wall for her advantage at the moment in time. Her shield really isn't going to be able to save her here, as Taya puts some nice damage in. Once again, we do see the red team pick up middle orb. A nice whirlwind bomb is going to delay things as we're about 20 seconds away from sudden death with either team trading blows. A nice in cap coming on to Taya at this point in time. Pearl's going to be able to counter, and once again we do actually see Shifu land his counter ability this time, but missing his javelin toss originally is going to actually mean that he doesn't have the incoming damage really to finish her off here with middle orb picking up the middle orb. Sudden death is upon us now, and the arena is going to start closing in on these heroes. A big in-cap coming onto Taya, and it looks like he might be able to actually pick her up here. Once again, using a great use of that knockback as he gets poked down here. Pearl using her silence is once again going to miss that ultimate. A nice ultimate coming in from Shifu though. It'd be with the ultimate that was actually missed from Pearl, did keep Taya from actually getting to her teammates, so it somehow did work out. Nicely done. It looks like the blue team are actually going to be able to take this with sudden death. It's really going to be hard for Pearl to turn this one around as she does knock Lucy into both the health orbs then. Thank you very much. Nice deadly inflection coming in and some good blade dash coming out of the Shifu. GG. That's 3-2 at this moment in time. 2 in favor of our red side. Really nicely done. He was able to land some of his Kunjus, nice counters, and turned it around, which was well played. We'll see how this pans out as we now enter round 6. So once again, this is a best of 3, so we still at least have potentially 2 more games to go after this one, depending on how things go, and both teams seem pretty evenly matched at the moment. It'd be interesting to see if they do decide to switch up their comps going into the next game, as we see Shifu really putting some nice pounding down onto the red side Taya. She does use her tornado to reposition herself, but it does allow blue team to pick up middle orb this round, as they have complete roam of the middle of the arena, going to be able to pick up all the health orbs. Do just miss out on the bottom energy orbs though. We'll see if that does actually cost them, as Pearl's only 10% away from getting her ultimate this time around. She has struggled to actually get Jaws to bite her target this time, so we'll see if she can get a nice one this time. As Taya once again calling it in her companion, landed some nice hits onto Shifu. Nice barrier is actually going to be able to avoid some of that incoming damage. A big petrify coming out of Lucy as Pearl's left in a 2v1 at this moment in time, but good use of the tornado is going to able to reposition herself. With middle orb coming up in about 3 seconds, Shifu does actually have his ultimate, and unfortunately for Pearl, her counter is actually going to be able to save her here. She does use her dive, which is going to be able to keep her alive at this moment in time, but a big petrify coming out of Lucy, and somehow Pearl is actually still alive at the moment. Great use of the whirlwind to throw on the outside of the map, but Shifu is relentless and isn't going to give up just yet as he starts moving on. A nice in cap coming. He does actually miss his javelin toss, but with the pull there, he's able to close the gap as he now switches his focus to Taya, as the blue team looking very commanding in our 6th round. Taya is going to call upon her companion, but he's not going to be able to come in time to save the day here as Pearl's left in a 2v1. A nice proc on the Kunju is actually going to close the gap here. And once again, Jaws, he's pretty hungry, I imagine, by the looks of things. He hasn't got too much of his prey. Nicely done. GG. So we can see the difference now. Shifu's bringing his A game now. He's making good use of his Kunju. He's starting to play it a little bit different. And unfortunately, the red team aren't having that sort of disengage that worked really well for them in the first couple of rounds, as we're 3 apiece. As we see Taya again a little bit too aggressive here. It's actually going to allow Shifu to drop her 10% of her health off then. I'm not really sure where she thought she was going to be going with that, and take some unnecessary damage as he does actually miss out on his counter this time around. A nice bubble is actually going to avoid Lucy from actually getting any hits there. Red team do pick up middle orb and are actually going to be able to pick up both health orbs this time around, as another Kunju avoided by the red side. Nicely done. Shifu going in onto the red side Pearl as Taya's getting some nice chunks out onto Lucy, but she's going to be able to heal through this incoming down just a moment in time. A beautiful petrify is actually going to waste that companion this time around as Shifu lands some deadly blows onto the Pearl. Unfortunately, he does miss out on his Kunju, but they are actually going to be able to pick up the middle orb this time around with about a minute already down. A nice javelin toss does actually share 1-for-1 on those health orbs on the top side between the red and the blue team. With his ultimate up once again, a nice knockback coming in from Taya is actually going to make not too much use out that one. As for sure, she would have left her on about 20% health if it wasn't for a friendly teammate here. Nicely picked up by the blue team to get that middle orb once again. With each team trading quite evenly, a nice big in cap coming out of Shifu is going to allow the red team to pick up those energy orbs and try and get their second ultimates for this round. A missed javelin toss is going to make it, but he does actually get his conjure ability. A nice counter coming in from Pearl herself, along with the javelin, is actually going to slow down. I believe Shifu did actually get caught in the ultimate this time around. He was milliseconds away from landing his javelin toss, which were actually saved him from danger. Taya making not too much use of a companion, with the blue team being pushed onto the bottom side as we're about to start entering sudden death. A big petrify is going to allow Shifu to land some nice blows onto her as she uses a whirlwind to reposition herself, but she is currently split away from Pearl with middle orb once again spawning. It looks like it's going to fall to our blue team, which it does. Taya does have her ultimate, but takes some nice big boomerang shots from the red team. As we're looking really even at the moment, it's going to be tight to who picks up this next round at this moment in time. Another good use of her whirlwind is actually going to throw her to the bottom side to pick up both health orbs, but Shifu landing some deadly blows onto Pearl as the sudden death arena isn't leaving much room for either team now. Great knockback coming out of Taya onto Shifu, but unfortunately with her Pearl dropping them from a nice ultimate is going to leave her in a 2v1, and she's going to struggle to turn this one around. Nice deadly inflection coming out of Lucy, and it's only a matter of seconds before this one is over. GG, currently 4-3 to our blue team. Big turnaround. Very nice.
And I'm just here for fun.
As we see both teams entering the middle arena, so potentially the blue team, they just need to win this round, and that will take them one up in this best of 3 series. As each team have traded very evenly in this round, it's been a real interesting game, back and forth. Great use of the disengages, but I feel the biggest issue is once Shifu is actually able to land his counter, it can just prove so vital. But at the moment, he does actually miss his first one this round, as he looks to start trading some big blows onto Taya. Pearl currently healing up. Nice use of her haste is actually going to disengage. Pearl does have her ultimate. We haven't seen her make too much good use of it, but it does actually land onto Lucy this time around, but really isn't going to do too much damage. But a nice silence and snare coming out of Taya is actually going to drop Lucy under 20% health, as blue team do pick up middle orb this time around. Shifu missing his javelin toss to re-engage here. Taya is actually able to pick up both green health orbs, but Shifu landing a nice in-cap onto the red side Pearl, and proccing his counter is able to get onto Taya, and it looks like he's actually going to drop here. And the blue team are going to be taking our first game of the semi-final tonight, unless Pearl can come up with some magical counter play. As we're 5 seconds away from sudden death, a nice in-cap coming out of Shifu, as Pearl tries her best to turn this one around. GG, really nice play by our blue side. I think they were down 3-1 originally, taking the first round and then dropping 3, but great use of Shifu, played it really well at the end. The problem at the start was he just didn't proc his counter enough, which allowed Taya to constantly be knocking him back, and during that he got silenced and just ate too much damage. He was unable to enter his invisibility stage where he avoids that incoming damage and just got outpoked. But come towards the last couple of rounds, he changed his game plan and landed some nice conjus, and was actually able to get behind his foes and turn it around, landed some big in-caps, along with getting some nice ultimates. His ultimates were really well timed on Pearl when her dive was already on cooldown. So GG, well played by the blue team. We'll see if the red team decide to switch it up at all going into our next game. It's just going to be a minute whilst we wait for them to ready up the lobby bosses. But yeah, very nice. That was the. I thought it was going to be a really close game, but the red team were looking pretty commanding at the start, making good use of those counters, but very well played by Shifu to turn it around in the end. So yeah, it'll be about 2 minutes bosses, and like I say, this is a best of 3, so we will still potentially 2 more games, maybe 1, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, it was really well played by Corrupted then. He was our rank 14 Shifu there, proven absolutely deadly into the latter rounds. They're just deciding what map they want to pick, and again, the winners of this will move on to the final, which will once again be a best of 3 with 5 rounds in each game. Hopefully, maybe we see some Rook action. Who knows? Even some Rukan, maybe so. New champ hype level. We did see some Jamong earlier, which was very successful. Alrighty then, so maybe we see some Asgard. They might be going for some pure aggression here, which will be quite interesting. As they are going to be lined up against Pearl and Taya once again. He's sticking with the Taya. It worked out nicely. It did work out very nicely. Taya is his favorite champion. K3 is a rank 14. With his partner in crime, Colezone, a rank 12, with his favourite champion being Bako, but choosing to ride the Pearl this time around, as we see Asgard and Shifu going into this one. Some aggression, I like it, I like to see this. We'll see how this pans out, we'll get rid of the fog of war, we want to see everything going down in the battle. As Asgard gets a bit aggressive here, nice knockback coming out from Taya. As middle wall is going to be about 5 seconds, strong coming out, a big molten fist onto the red side Taya here, as each team trading blow for blow. So the blue team are going to have to be pretty damn aggressive here, as if they're not, they're going to get poked out by the double range, which we did see in the last time, and it worked well. You know, the Pearl and Taya, they were unlucky to sort of lose it in the end. Shifu, I think, played really well in the latter rounds, but it could go either way. You know, if they're unable to get those procs, you see him land a nice in cap here, but some big damage coming out by the red time. A nice knockback is actually going to disengage from the red side, keeping the blue team apart, which is really important here. A nice firewall coming out from Asuka, make sure the blue team do actually secure this middle wall. We're about 50 seconds already through. But the problem here is that the red team now, if they can chill on the backside, they're just going to actually be able to heal through this, as we do actually see Infernal Scorch coming out. It does hit both targets, and with a nice Molten Fist, along with Shifu's charged up spear, isn't going to actually be enough to drop anyone here, and this is the issue here. They threw everything out then, and unfortunately they weren't able to pick up. If they can get a kill here, if they can pick up, say, one target, whether it be the Teo or the Pearl, you know, I think they'll win the 2v1. But unfortunately, once they go that aggressive and they get disengaged, they're just going to get poked out, as we saw then. But for sure, the blue team can certainly turn this around there without a doubt. You know, we saw them do it last time. Once Shifu does actually get onto one of them, he's going to cause some issues, especially if they can line up that in cap into the Molten Fist stun. Sure, why not? You know, they just took too much of a pounding at the start then. But GG. So obviously this is a best of 3 with our blue team currently 1-0 up, with our blue team being Flux against Mycon Prodigy on the red side. Sorry. As we enter round 2, Shifu once again sporting that invisible unicorn. I love it. As he does get nice aggression onto the tear, and this is what needs to happen. He needs to keep following this up, landing 2 nice javelin toss along with the in cap, and just on the outside there, Asgard is actually able to land that Molten Fist. As they keep up the aggression, they can't fall back here now. They really just need to look for the deadly blow, and Pearl in this 2v1 situation really has no chance. Great use, he landed both javelin tosses then, which was deadly, and somehow Asgard was actually still able to land that Molten Fist just on the outside, even with the bubble knocking him back. GG, really nicely done, as we saw the blue team absolutely annihilate that round, and I feel this is what can happen for sure. But if Shifu does miss, the thing is, Shifu misses his javelin toss, or Taya is able to actually knock back with her knockback, and he doesn't proc his Kunju, I think he's really going to struggle. and then that's when they get out-poked, and Pearl can disengage with the bubble and slow everything down, and they start healing up. But if he does what he did then, the blue team could easily stomp this, as once again he lands a nice javelin toss onto Taya. Does miss his second charge here, but does actually proc the Conjure as he lands some nice blows with a fully in-charge spear. We do see him use his in-cap, but Pearl removes the defects with her little bubble, as the blue team look to take the first middle orb this round. Nicely done so far, but here now you can see the red team are already full health, and the blue team currently losing about 20% of their missing health. The middle orbs are up at this point in time, which will heal them up. But will it be enough, as we see Taya landing some nice boomerangs at the moment? Shifu does come in landing a nice big in-cap and comboed with a Molten Fist here, and you can see that this combo is looking pretty deadly, similar to the Croak and Jade combo we saw from last week's final. Nice start for the blue side, but once again the red team back to full health, and with no orbs up, the blue team are going to have to really start to make some action here, as we do see a double in-cap and a double Molten Fist comboed with the Infernal Scorch coming out of our little Fireball Ascar. Nice start. We do see Jaws take a bite out of Shifu, with Taya actually dropping here, and the blue team, that was a great combo then. It was a massive double in-cap coming out of Shifu. It lasted for around about sort of 2.5 seconds. It's quite a long old time, and it allowed Ascar to actually hit both targets in one fist, comboed him with his Infernal Scorch, and it was very nicely done. Even though Jaws did take a bite out of Shifu, it wasn't enough, as Pearl is going to drop here. Nicely done. Well played by our blue team, making good use of their aggression. Remember, they are currently 1-0 up, so if they do actually take the next 3 rounds, they will be moving on to tonight's final. I don't know, there's like a little, it seems like there's a little head actually next to Shifu. There's like a little, I don't know, something to do with, I've never noticed that before. There's like a little, skeleton, there's all skeleton, I guess it's this map, it's this map. The little things, you never notice this when you're playing, when you actually sat here watching. Amazed. Like a little kid at Christmas. Alrighty then, once again, we're going to be coming into round 4 here, and we'll see how Shifu, really I think Shifu is the playmaker here. He goes in, he gets that javelin toss, he builds up enough energy, he lands that double in-cap, even getting a single in-cap is all he needs. But a nice knockback coming in from Taya, and this is what I talked about earlier. Once that is on cooldown, obviously he has two charge of his javelin toss, he really needs to engage, because if he goes in now, it's going to be back off cooldown, and he's really not going to get anywhere here. He's going to get poked down for his troubles. He does actually miss his Kunju, and the red team are going to start looking commanding after that, and that's what we saw happen in the first round. As you see, each team trading even blows. A nice javelin coming in by Shifu onto Pearl, but she's able to pull back, and he doesn't actually pop his counter this time around. As the red team looking reasonable here, but the range of that javelin toss is huge. A nice whirlwind is actually going to be able to pull Tara away, but she is actually split away from her teammate, as Asgard does pick up the blue side, the middle orb this time around. A nice whirlwind bomb, but a great counter coming from Kanju, as we see her get a nice knockback. Molten Fist does actually miss this time around, and also the 3 infernal projectiles coming out of Asgard isn't going to find its target, as the red team start once again healing up here. Asgard going for the aggression to pick up both health orbs. A nice knockback is actually going to leave Shifu to get a nice in-cap. A long combo with the Molten Fist. Whirlwind is actually going to keep her away. Infernal Scorch coming out does actually secure middle orb, but unfortunately was a bit of a wasted ultimate, as the red team starting to poke down the blue team quite nicely. A nice follow coming out of Asgard is actually going to keep Terra at bay. Good use of all 3 projectiles to knock her away from Pearl, which allowed Shifu to get some deadly spins with his ultimate there. As the red team are caught on the outside with about 20 seconds left of this one till we end a sudden death, as the blue team start taking all the outer orbs. But the red team are healing up slowly. Shifu getting another great use of his javelin, countered by the whirlwind, a big in-cap comboed with the Molten Fist into another javelin. But unfortunately his counter didn't actually get procced, and unfortunately he doesn't actually fall this time. I thought the red team were about to turn us around. She does actually land her ultimate. I think this will kill Shifu this time around, as we see him drop, and Asgard does actually land his Infernal Scorches. Pearl using great use of a bubble here along with the heals. It isn't going to be enough to actually keep her alive here. Unfortunately, with a dive on cooldown, she was actually able to get behind that bottom wall and pick up both health orbs. Maybe she could have turned it around with sudden death coming in, but nicely done, as we see it's currently 3-1 to our blue team. Very nice. So once again, our blue team are Flux, and they are facing off against our red side, My Corner Prodigy, who are currently 1-0 down at the moment in this best of 3 series. They need to start they really need to start avoiding these javelins. It's okay taking the first one, but the second one's just costing them too much with all the abilities down, and also avoiding those counters coming out of Shifu, as once again, as you see, even proc his Kundru, as Taya already under 50% health, and I feel this is probably going to be 4-0 already, with some big damage coming out as she's actually split away from her teammate. Asuka and Shifu looking to keep up the aggression, but he does actually miss his counter this time around. They are going to pick up middle orb as Pearl's trying to best her. Heal up her teammate. I don't think even she has enough heals to start healing through that damage as Shifu lands a nice javelin along with his in-cap combo with the Molten Fist. We're actually going to see Taya taking some big hurt, using her tornado to try and disengage the situation. Ashkar does land 2 of his projectiles, which is going to push her to the top side with middle orb once again spawning. Both Infernal Scorch is ready for Ashkar. We'll see what he decides to do at this time around, and Shifu's only about 5% and probably even getting his ultimate. Pearls are strong enough. His ultimate's up, a big double in cap, along with that combo with the Molten Fist into Infernal Scorch. And Jade is still alive somehow as she makes good use of her Whirlwind, and Pearls is actually going to keep them away as they start landing some nice poke. And this really could go the blue side way, I think. As much as I was getting a little bit excited that the red team were going to turn this around, unfortunately I think they're a bit too low health. It was a nice Whirlwind, and unfortunately ultimate did kind of miss. It did actually keep them away from Taya in some ways, but unfortunately, maybe if that ultimate had actually hit them, it could have been a bit different. But some nice poke coming out at the end, but unfortunately Taya did proc that Kunju and allowed Shifu to close that gap there. They're currently 4-1, but the red team, for sure, I do feel they can turn it around, but it's going to be a hard one. And like I say, the blue team do take this, they will be moving on to tonight's final. As we see Shifu proc his Kunju, nicely done, as he's going to start getting some big blows onto Taya. Does actually decide to pull back for some reason and not keep up the aggression. With Pearl on the top side, I think this would have been a good time for him to actually put some funding down. As a nice firewall coming out of Asgard is going to keep him from trouble. Middle orb is up, it could fall either way. Blue team do actually pick up as Shifu falls back with a spear. Nicely done. Once again, does actually waste his Kunju, picking up both health orbs on the top side as we see Asgard starting to put some damage down on the red side Pearl. Shifu once again getting in a nice wind bomb, is actually going to be able to distance herself along with her tornado to pull her out of harm's way. As we see Asgard misses Molten Fist here, but Taya currently under about 50% health. Pearl's trying to down this to heal her up as the blue team red team do actually pick up middle orb this time around. Pearl's ultimate is up, but we haven't actually seen too much use out of Jaws really. He's mostly just been biting in air, unfortunately. As Shifu, currently under about 60% health, is actually going to be able to avoid the incoming draws, and I think with that being said, the blue team are probably going to take this 5th round here. Nice in-cup counter out of Shifu is going to leave Taya in all kinds of trouble as Asgard is able to actually catch her with his Molten Fist. She is going to pull upon her companion. The shield might keep her alive for enough time. Infernal Scorch really isn't going to do too much here, but with the red team being this low, I think they're really going to struggle. There's a nice counter coming in by Shifu along with his spear and ultimate. Chop, 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 my friends. Well played. Great job by the blue team. So that does mean Flux will be moving on to the final. Really well played. Shifu was the man. It was very similar to, like I say, that the Jaden Croak from what we saw from the Q2 tournament 2 weeks ago. Shifu goes in, he lands that in cap, and it just lasts so long. Like even when Asgard wasn't in range, even if they actually come out of it, because it lasts so long, Asgard's able to get over there, and just as they're leaving, he still catches them with his Molten Fist. Allows him then to land probably 2 out of the 3 projectiles, along with Shifu, who probably has his charged up right mouse button now and completely wrecks. Really nicely done. So GG. That will mean we'll be moving on to our final now. There's probably going to be a couple minutes, bosses, as we wait for the other game to finish up and then to create the lobby. But really exciting stuff. Great, well played by Shifu. Really proven deadly. Proven deadly for sure. So I will put up the top 5 plays whilst we just wait for the next round to get, or the final to get underway. Once again, there will be the NA tournament tonight. That will be midnight for us British fellows, with Europeans being 1 AM, and it works out about 7 PM for you guys in America. Alright then, bosses, so we are into our final. It's got to be pretty damn quick, considering now it's been 5 rounds compared to the 3. We soon got through the game, so it looks like we might be actually seeing some Jamong action, along with Older, possibly Paloma, sorry. Does look like he could be switching up to Lucy, it could be anything. As we are going to see Shifu and Asgard, which was the Flux from last game, who absolutely destroyed. Shifu was on point for sure. Alrighty then. Anyway, so this is going to be a best of 3 once again. Big hype for that. We'll see what these guys can pull out of the bag. Nice to see some Jamong. I'm not sure. I think this is actually the Jamong and Older that we actually saw from earlier. So it's going to be our red side is going to be Flower Power against our blue side being Flux. As we see each team trading evenly, and once again with the Shifu and Asgard, it is going to be a very aggressive combo. It did work out last time, but if they're not careful, especially against Jamong and Older, you know, they've got some nice counter plays to the south here. They could really be poked out and also healed out here. So we'll see how this plans out. Obviously, they don't necessarily have so much to disengage that Tail was able to throw out, but Jamong himself, with his traps and also his stealth and being able to in-cap someone out of it, along with his R ability, as you can see him spam down his arrows there, putting some nice damage down and making good use out of his spacebar ability. Obviously, with Jamong, once he gets 3 auto attacks, he can use his spacebar twice within quick succession, which is really nice and gives him great mobility, and also with some talents behind him, give him some big damage as Shifu really getting pounded in this first round. Jamong does actually miss Dragon Slayer this time around. Infernal Scorch isn't going to get off. They will leave it a full soul on the bottom side. But GG, really nicely done. So this is similar to what we saw happen the first time, a little bit quicker. But the blue team certainly sort of got to grips with the game and turned it around. But we'll see what happens. It was very well played by the red team. They made it look easy. So a little bit the issue here, you know, obviously with them running full damage, if they can't get those abilities off and they don't proc their counters, they're just going to get out-poked and out-healed. And there's a lot of damage. They did die very quickly here. We'll see how this pans out as Shifu does land a nice spear. Molten Fist is actually going to miss, and we're not going to see a stun come out of this. But once again, as I say, the blue team, they generally lose the first round and then come back pretty damn pissed in the second one as Shifu lands some big damage right there. Really nicely played, and we're going to see the blue team turn this one pretty quickly. About a lot quicker than 2 minutes. GG. I think the way to beat the blue team is just not to win the first round. Probably not to win any rounds. As soon as they seem to lose a round, they kind of get a taste for things. Every game I think we've actually cast, they seem to have lost the first round, and then they understand what they're up to, and then they land that javelin, and it's just huge. If he avoids the javelin, then it'll be alright for them, but the problem, Shifu's been on pretty much on point with it. He does actually pop his Conjure a little bit early, but once again making a nice javelin here. We don't actually see Molten Fist come out. 2 projectiles coming out of Asgard as we see him actually land his stun this time with a nice in-cap coming out. It is actually going to leave Jamong under half health at the moment, but Shifu himself has actually dropped pretty low as the Sound of Timekeeper isn't going to be taking this anytime soon. And really nicely played. It was well played by the blue team. They pretty much did everything like the last time. Maybe it wasn't as aggressive as Shifu didn't get the first javelin, but Older didn't mess about, and he certainly chucked some sand at Shifu then. Nicely done. Jamong is actually... Oh, I thought Jamong died. Never mind. Really nicely done by our red team. They certainly have a lot of damage here. Even with the blue team looking pretty on point there, they just out-damaged them. With GG, they were able to fall back enough, and Shifu just wasn't able to keep it up. I think it hurt him. The problem with him missing that counter at the start meant that when he did engage, he can't use that ability for 8 seconds, so he's pretty vulnerable. At least if he'd went in, he should have, I feel, waited and then go in. At least he can have his counter to actually then reposition himself and try and make the next attack instead of going in and just being balls deep at that point. We'll see how this pans out. Ascar using his spacebar to kind of close the gap here. A nice model coming out is actually going to give Jamong some room distance, as we see the red team looking pretty commanding here, making good use of his double space to land some nice damage. Rain of Arrows is actually going to drop Shifu pretty low here. It does actually land his Kunju, but with Oldo being able to use his time travel there to create some distance between his foe. We're looking pretty good for the red side once again, and maybe they might be taking this 4th round here at the moment. A bear trap isn't actually going to hit anyone, but it will keep Shifu from going in, and he does actually proc it this time. As Jamon getting caught in the Infernal Scorch, really nice by Ascar. The red team did actually look pretty commanding there, but unfortunately, I'm not really choosing the blue team, just put the damage down in the end. Ascar is actually going to pick up the middle orb. It's not going to matter, as Shifu's able to easily wreck Uldor, as we're actually taking 2 apiece in our final tonight. Exciting stuff. Really nice. That was a big play by Ascar. Certainly deserved the MVP then. Shifu kind of really didn't get much going and was really pounded at the start then. It was well played by the red side, but Ascar coming to the rescue then, landing some nice projectiles, and his ultimate at the end was deadly. As we are into our 5th round of our first best of 3. Red team looking to command the middle orb at the moment. We're a few seconds away before it actually spawns. Shifu does actually land a nice javelin toss along with Kunju. Is able to get his counter off here. Jamong is actually going to be a little bit vulnerable with his stealth down at the moment. Does drop under about 20% of his health pounder, but Older is able to heal up. A nice fireball coming in by Ascar is going to guarantee the blue orb, the middle orb for the blue side. As we see Ascar making good use of his leap to avoid the incoming damage. He's actually going to miss his Molten Fist here as Shifu lands a nice incap onto Older, which is going to leave Jamong on his own. Nice bear trap will keep Shifu from engaging at the moment. Ascar kind of caught out on the slice on the bottom side. He does actually land a nice petrify onto Older, but with his teammate split, this really could go either way now as Shifu and Jamong trade battle for battle. But a nice rain of arrows with the snare there and using the wall to his advantage, actually going to leave us in a 1v1. Ascar does pick up middle orb and his Infernal Scorch is ready. He does have the potential to use his X-Shift ability, which we do actually see here, using up 50% of his energy to land some healing blows, which was much needed. If he can make it to the top side there, that is actually will give him enough energy to get his ultimate once again. As we see either team trading blow for blow with sudden death coming in, this really could go either way. I feel Older probably has the advantage, but for sure we could see Ascar pick this up as once again he uses his energy to get the heal, picking up the middle orb, which is also going to give him the heal and also refresh his ultimate. Nice leap is going to avoid the incoming damage. The Petrify will give him a shield, so it's not really going to hurt him too badly at the moment, but currently dropped under 20% health. A nice firewall is going to project those incoming projectiles. A good leap is actually going to avoid the incoming sands of time. A nice ultimate and a great use of his dash end to actually keep him in. If he can pick up this, he is actually able to pick up middle orb here. Great use of his Petrify. And will he actually be able to turn this around? Great use of his knockback. And we do see Ascar somehow turn this around. Wow, that was pretty clutch. That was that was real clutch. Deary me. GG to Ascar, picking up his blue team. They are going to currently sit 3-2 to the moment. So again, we still potentially have another 2 rounds to go out of this best of 3. Really well played by Ascar then. That was very clutch indeed. I felt that when he used his Infernal Scorch, he'd kind of overstepped the mark, but good use of his dash ability and then using was somehow to actually have enough energy left to still actually able to heal off that middle orb, which was huge. If he'd lost middle orb, I think for sure he would actually have lost that one. So well played for him. He made great use of his X-Shift abilities. As we see Jamong getting real pounded. A bit of deja vu from the second round here with the blue team landing everything around here, and Older knows his time is up. You don't hear that very often from the Keeper of Time. GG, an easy round for the blue team. Unfortunately, that button does not bring up the brackets, my friend. You can check the brackets on PlayTourney.com. I'll send you the link in a second, but I get the brackets up for this out of this round finishes boss. Really nicely done by the blue team. Kunju is actually going to be wasted this time around by Shifu, and that's the difference there. We saw him actually land both Javelin Tots and his counter and absolutely annihilated Jamong then, as he once again making good use of his Kunju this time around. Jamong already dropping under 20% of his health, and he potentially could go for middle orb, but you're going to use his rain of arrows to try and snare them and leave Older, save him. He's getting pounded in this bot side. Shifu taking a bit of a pound himself. Older is locked down, he doesn't actually have an escape at the moment. A nice firewall coming out by Ascar meant Jabon couldn't actually get any arrows in this time around, as the really could go either way. He is actually going to waste his counter this time around and see how Jamong decides to play this out. He's about 10% away from having his ultimate, which really could turn this one around. Mid orb is up. He's actually going to pick this up for himself. He does have his charged up spacebar, so with that he will be able to do twice as he lands a nice Dragon Slayer onto Shifu straight into the wall. Then Asgard does come in with his Infernal Scorch. He does actually get picked up by the Bear Trap. Rain of Arrows is actually going to miss its target as he's just able to juke out the Molten Fist there. All three projectiles of Asgard's right won't be able to get his target now. Asgard, with the health advantage, is actually able to pick up one of the health orbs from that bottom side as he just misses out on his Molten Fist thanks to Jamong's Q. And really nicely played. I thought Jamong might actually have turned that one around then, but the blue team are going to take our first game from the best of 3 for tonight's final. Really nicely played. That was nicely played. It was nice waited by Jamong to actually wait out Shifu's counter. I thought he wasn't actually going to have the time to do that then, but he was just able to pull it off. So GG. But it's going to be about like 2 minutes whilst we wait for them to set up the group for the next one. I will bring up the brackets for you bosses that are interested to see who's actually played. But like I say, this is our final at this moment in time. Oh, that was a massive outplay coming from the blue side. Really nicely done by Ascar. So, Flux are currently 1-0 up. The Shifu has proven deadly so far for sure. And they are facing up against the red side. That is Flower Power, who did actually drop that round. So again, this is a best of 3. So potentially we may still have 2 more games left. We'll see how it pans out. It was a close one. It was very close. But what we certainly can see, the Shifu and Ascar, if Shifu can land both his Javelin Toss plus get his Kunju, it's pretty much GG. The rounds are going to be over in a minute. But if the enemy team can juke that out, if they can avoid the Javelin Toss, or secondly do actually allow him to land it and he overextends and then they juke out his Kunju by not proccing it, it leaves him in a bit of a bad situation. But we do see when it does land, the game is over pretty quickly. Oh, yeah, it was really nicely played by Ascar in that 1v2. Really nicely played. I thought he overextended when he used his Infernal Scorch, the ultimate, which flung him out of the arena with a sudden Death Lumen in, but with his mobility, he has 2 leaps and made great use, and obviously with his second leaps actually able to push the enemy away, which was able to kill Older in the end, and picking up that middle orb, which gave him the 50 health, and also allowed him to get his ultimate once again. I think if he didn't pick that up, he would have been in a bit of trouble. Alright, they're just setting up the lobby bosses, and we'll be able to get underway with our second game of our best of 3 tonight for our Q4 EU final. Obviously the finalists will be moving on to the big final, which is November the 11th. There is no tournament next week. The final with all the previous finalists from Q1, Q2, Q3 and Q4 for EU and NA will be taking place on November 11th with $250 up for grabs for EU and another separate $250 up for NA. Alrighty then, so it looks like we might be seeing some Pearl and Shifu coming out this time, deciding that they're going to play it a bit more defensively. And the Shifu and Ascar has certainly proved very deadly, but they may decide that they're going to take a little bit more chilled, and we potentially might be seeing some, potentially Ascar. I think it's a good thing they've got going on here. It's not like they really need the support. They're playing it really well, and the aggression's working out really nicely. Could be some Jamong and Lucy, potentially Jade. Jade obviously did get nerfed in this patch 0.8. Not a massive nerf, but it's a slight nerf to her talent, so it looks like he's actually going to be sticking with Jamong. As we go into this then, with our blue team currently 1 game up in this best of 3 series, it certainly could be turned around. The red team actually swapping to Tear in the end. quite interesting. So this was the comp we did actually see in the semi-finals. The Teo Lucy did kind of work okay-ish against the Shifu. But again, it really depends on how well Shifu plays. Generally what happens, he loses that first round, he misses everything, and then he just goes absolute Rambo mode and kicks their ass. As we come into it, as we're going to see the red team throwing out some of their projectiles. Not really too much happening. Shifu does actually miss his javelins toss around. Middle warp's about 5 seconds away. And we'll see who's going to be able to pick up the first one. I'm sure that's going to be our first big fight. But Asgard gone a little bit aggressive here. But Lucy is actually away from her teammate. And Asgard already dropped on the 50% health here. I'm not really too sure what he was going for there. Without Shifu backing him up, he was in a bit of a big issue. A nice panic coming out of Lucy. He got really poked down. But again, Shifu landed some nice damage on the Taya. But the red side are going to be able to start healing through this. The blue team, I think, did pick up middle orb during all that chaos. As we see each team blow for blow. But already Taya's back up to health. A nice in-cap and comboed with that Molten Fist. She does actually use a Whirlwind to avoid the incoming down. Infernal Scorch is going to pick her up. And once again, there we see that damage coming out of the blue side as Lucy is actually going to be left in a 2v1 situation. Shifu does actually have his spin to win up as an Molten Fist is going to lock Lucy in place. GG. Nice and easy. Once they get on top, they don't really leave much to the imagination. They chop, chop, chop. Nicely done. So, Corrupted, who is our Shifu, is his most played champion. He is currently ranked 14, and his buddy, Lum1, who's currently ranked 14 as well, is an Ascar main. That's proven it. They seem to really know their champions well, and this combo they got working seems to be really nice, very similar to our Jade and Croak. And hopefully, obviously, whoever does win this, both teams will be moving into the November 11th finals. We have the Jade and Croak from Q2. I would really like to see Jade and Croak come up against this Shifu and Asuka combo. It'd be interesting to see how it works out because they both have the in-cap and stun kind of combo. Who could play it better? That would be a great matchup. As we see once again Shifu putting the hurt down on Lucy and split away from her teammate, really making this look easy. She does actually get a panic, but with his javelin toss he will be able to close the gap. Does miss it this time around, but unfortunately Taya's on the top side taking middle orb whilst Lucy's taking a big pounding here. Even with their heals, it's going to be hard to heal through this as a big in-cap. Once again, comboed with that Molten Fist. Whirlwind is going to delay the matters here, but really nicely played by our blue side. Unfortunately then, I think there was a bit of miscommunication. Lucy was taking a big pounding from Shifu, whilst Taya was deciding to take middle orb. Asuka was able to close the gap and they just took too much damage. Sure, they may have heals, but if they take that much upfront damage, it's just not gonna... The heals ain't gonna do them much favours. Nicely done. This combo is glorious. Yeah, no, this combo is like, yeah, the in-cap from Shifu, the fact that he can actually stun them for like 2.5 seconds. Well, it's not an actual stun. If it's as soon as damage is done, it does actually break it. But 2.5 seconds, which then can be comboed with a stun, which then leaves them to take, I think, like 2 projectiles. I'm not sure what the actual damage was. It's a lot of damage. I'm not going to do the maths. It's too much for me. But then Shifu then also gets up his charge Impale, and it's yeah, too much really for the red team to handle. The problem is here, I think we did actually see in the semi-finals the Lucy and Taya comp. They were actually able to deal with it, but at the moment they're just constantly split. Lucy has the shield, Taya has the knockback. We also have the panic from Lucy. If they play it right, they can outpoke them, but at the moment they just keep getting split. And if they're going to be 1v1ing or 2v1ing, it's just not really going to go well for the red team. They really need to stick together and use their range to their advantage, which just really hasn't happened at the moment. But looking quite nice as again they're split here, and this is the problem here. Lucy just isn't going to be able to deal with Shifu as he makes nice use of his Kunju, and Asuka really isn't doing enough to tear at the moment. She does actually get her ultimate here. This could be quite interesting with the blue team currently under about 50% health here. Her ultimate is ready as she does lose out on both health orbs. Using his firewall instead of Infernal Scorch to block the incoming damage, we do see Taya ban out with Shifu and actually winning this. A nice roly-poly along with a deadly infection, and she's actually going to be able to solo the Shifu there, which is just massive. Asgard does use his Infernal Scorch to pick this one up, but with the companion cooled, it's actually going to allow the red team to pick this first round up for them. The comeback is on. Really nicely done. Again, like the problem, they were actually split, but somehow Lucy, I'm not really sure what happened on that top side. Lucy was able to actually solo Shifu, which was very impressive. GG. Game on. Yeah, the green is very nice. The green is very nice. So the green mount, you can get it if you have a Razor product, which is really cool. Yeah, I do like the green. I do actually probably prefer the green over the red one as well. That's cool. I do kind of prefer red, but the green does look a bit more cooler. As we see Shifu, and once again the red team split up here as Lucy's caught on the top side, sort of daydreaming as you see Taya just taking the pound, and she is actually able to disengage nicely, but already under 50% health. She's in a bit of trouble here, using a whirlwind to avoid the incoming projectiles. Lucy's trying to damn this to heal up. Blue team do actually secure middle orb. They are going to be able to pick up these bottom health orbs. Nice route coming in by Shifu. A barrier is able to avoid something coming down, but the in cap are comboed once again with the Molten Fist, but a nice whirlwind is actually going to be able to avoid the incoming damage, and this is all they need to do. If they can keep on the outside and stick together, they can really outpoke them, as Asuka's already under 40% health. A wasted knockback, and she is actually going to avoid the incoming Shifu counter, but once again Taya and Lucy are just not working together well enough here. We can see what they can do together as a team. They have the counter play as she makes nice use, and Lucy actually going to drop Asuka though. But Lucy is on some mad ting at the moment as she soloed Shifu in the last round and actually soloed Asuka this time around. Really nicely done. So as much as I was saying they kind of need to work as a team, Lucy is pulling out the damage. She is working overtime, certainly deserves MVP. Taking out the Asuka, who was actually under 40% health. I thought Shifu would have killed Taya a little bit quicker then, but he was unable to, and it worked out. She was able to delay enough with that whirlwind, didn't proc his counter twice, and that was huge. If she procced either one of them, she would have been dead for sure. Nicely done. Yeah, I believe the red one is actually going to be going into chests, I believe. I'm not 100% sure, and I don't quote me, but that's what I did here. As we see the blue team once again putting the aggression in. Nice Mortal Fist, actually going to miss this time. Nice whirlwind is going to be able to throw Taya back. I think it's better she just keeps that up instead of using her ultimate. It's just such a huge counter to this comp, and then they can just use their range to their advantage, which worked really nicely in the previous rounds they've won here. We see Lucy once again split. Asuka put some nice damage onto Taya, but trading pretty evenly. His Infernal Scorch is up. Is he going to holding on to it this time around, and luckily he was able to actually reposition himself as he was going to the bottom side there, and Taya is gonna somehow is actually still alive at the moment. I'm lost for words that she was actually able to get out of that alive. I thought for sure she was dead, and with that being said, I think that the blue team are probably going to lose this round, as not being able to kill Taya then was huge, but unfortunately for her, Shifu was able to proc it. But Lucy, with both teammates under 20% health here, I think Lucy can potentially turn this around, but we'll see how well the blue team work as a team with a nice Petrify coming out of Asuka. She does use a barrier to avoid the incoming damage with a nice panic onto Asuka. The Deadly Infection isn't going to be able to do enough damage with the roly-poly. She is able to get a nice hit, but a good use of his firewall to avoid the incoming damage, and great use of his projectiles to actually keep her at bay. That was a really nice firewall. If it wasn't for that, I think she would have probably been dead, and also the blue team picking up middle orb was huge then. 3-2. Exciting stuff. Real back and forth. Oh, you meant red? Oh, I thought you meant the red mount. Yeah, you mean the red team coming back? Yeah, it was very exciting. Hopefully they do come back, because it means at least we'll have another game here, which would be super cool. I think it certainly could happen. I think Lucy and Taya do probably seem one of the strongest comps to actually deal with this Asuka and Shifu with the panics and the knockbacks and the haste coming out of Taya, and also that hurricane or whirlwind. The same but different. To either use her on her or her teammate is just so deadly to be able to actually pull them away and then reposition herself, as we see here. She actually avoids the incoming stun, but nice use of the firewall to avoid the incoming damage. But the red team looking pretty good here, as we do see Taya landing some big blows. She does actually get a nice wind bomb here, which is actually going to keep her alive there, as she's probably going to actually lose out on middle orb to the blue team this time around. Her ultimate is in, and she starts chucking out some big blades onto Asuka, and it looks like this is going to be going to 3 apiece at the moment into our 7th round, as Shifu tries his damnedest. His counter isn't actually going to get procced this time around, and GG. What a game. Yeah, it is really nice. Yeah, hurrah, whether it's a hurricane or a tornado, is so damn strong. Like, the amount of times I've been cast and we've seen Taya's where she's used it to avoid, or as we see in here, but I've seen like Asuka going with his ultimate and she just uses R and she just flies out of the damage, which is just huge, and it's been absolutely proven really vital here. But nice damage coming from the blue side. All they have to do is catch out that champion at the start and pound them, which they're doing at the moment. Nice counter coming, but a great use out of her whirlwind is actually been able to chuck her over the wall, but it does leave both red side kind of split up at the moment. Mid orb coming up. I do feel the blue team will pick this up. A nice pickup coming from Shifu, but with Lucy pinned in on the bottom side, I think she's going to be in big trouble. A nice in-cup coming in. She is actually going to be able to roly-poly out of the danger. She tries healing up. A great knockback coming out of Taya. Isn't going to be able to save her teammate this time around as Asgard comes flying in with his Infernal Scorch and using his X-Shift to get the heals. Wasn't really needed, but why not, hey? GG. Well, that's the problem there. If the red team get caught out and they split, and Lucy just got caught in that corner then and got absolutely wrecked with it. Which makes it really interesting. There's a lot of mind games going on at the moment. They need to really avoid that Shifu's counterplay and obviously try and stick together as much as possible, but at the same time not grouping up too much, as they don't want to get hit by a double Petrify or a double Incap. If they both get hit by that Incap, then it's going to be GG for sure. As we see Taya already losing 30% of her health at the moment. Big chunk as Lucy's actually caught on the bot side and Incap into that stun combo, and this could be GG. Taya is actually going to use her haste to get some movement speed, but a nice stun coming into play. She's actually going to use a whirlwind, but unfortunately the whirlwind does actually place on the bot side. She uses a wind bomb to reposition herself, roll into the bottom side, does actually get in a barrier coming in from Lucy, somehow still alive, but Infernal Scorch coming in, and it does look like our blue team will be our winners tonight unless Lucy can pull off some miracles. She's trying her goddamn damnedest. So GG. What a final. It was very entertaining. It was really back and forth. It was very well played by the red team. Unfortunately, the blue team, once they made that combo happen and the red team split, it was too much. So once again, that was Flux there, who were corrupted, who was ranked 14, and Ashgar, our Lem 1, who was also 14 himself, and they're going to be our winners tonight of our Q4. With both them, so both Flux and Flower Power, will be moving on to, not next week, it'll be the 11th of November, which is 2 weeks' time, which is the big EU final, and there will be the NA final as well, which will have all 8 teams from the previous 4 tournaments battling out for $250, the EU, and then a separate prize pool for the NA. Really exciting stuff. That was, yeah, that was really nice. Like Lucy shields were very strong. Taya, I think her whirlwinds are on point for sure, but I think the biggest issue really for them was just a bit of maybe a lack of communication or just a bit of lack of teamwork. Like, they didn't want to group up too much because if Shifu lands a double in cap, then for sure it's over. But at the same time, if they're split as much as they are, they're just going to take too much of a pounding. If they take 50% of their health like they did in that first, or if they take 50% of their, either one loses 50% health within that first 20-second window, I think it's GG. They're not going to heal through it. And the blue side, the Asuka and Shifu aren't going to let out the aggression. But yeah, very nicely done. That was a great final to cast. I'm really hoping for, I don't know if you guys saw the Q2 tournament. You can watch it up on YouTube. This will all be going up to YouTube as well tomorrow, hopefully. The Croak and Jade, it was very similar to this. But I feel this probably works a little bit better. So we'll see how, yeah, I'd love to see Shifu and Ashgar versus Croak and Jade at some point. That would be great. But GG, so the situation now is I'm going to quickly get a drink, and I'm going to stream some Battlerite of me playing, myself, and I. I'm probably going to get my buddy on Discord, and the two of us will play. We'll do some normals, go over some champs, anyone you particularly want to see, and then in a couple hours' time we will have the NA final, or NA tournament, the Q4, which will be starting at midnight English time. It'll be about 1 AM anywhere in Europe, and then also I believe it works out at 7 PM for the Americans. But great job, well played by Flux. That was a very entertaining Shifu and Ashgar combo player. It was really nice. So I'm just going to get a drink, and I'll be back in like sort of a couple minutes, bosses, and we'll get into some solo play. And yeah, sweet. A great final. Hope you guys enjoyed.
For she is the Countess who stalks the night.
Finally, we have her ultimate ability, Feast. Causes her targets to glaze into her mysterious eyes, stunning them in